right. So we got another little funny story time. Got another little story time we're going to do. Stay tuned. But yeah, we got some more comedy, some more comedy. But you know, as y'all can see, we have the video up here today with Medina Muhammad, right? And this channel is At My Sister's House. Sister's name is Fatima. That's the host here. And so we're gonna, you know, in the last time that we checked out this history of Fard, we checked out some videos from Dr. Andrew Morrow and was it Khalid Muhammad? Two brothers that had did the research for that right there. King Math was the deal, wise understanding, Felix Almanzar. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we had a little you know, a little bizarre. I had a little bizarre son love from the neighborhood. Missed this by that much. Khalid Shakur, welcome to the channel. Phil G. It's been a minute. The hardest working man in Texas. Free site for a lot. So yeah, but you know, before we get into the what's the name, I'm gonna hit you with so you know, me and King Sang, we had a little text exchange. We had a little text exchange after I got off the live stream yesterday. Wait, you back in Chicago? I thought you moved to Texas. You went back to Chicago? Divine understanding. See, all this time I'm thinking you in Texas, man. So yeah, you're not having a little text exchange with King Sang, you know. And look, you know, really we can, you know, we can skip the details, man. The moral of the story is that you never out the woods, man. You never out the woods. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying, like, look, I know this brother since like 1989 or something like that. You know, I ain't talking about, you know, we do each other from the park or something. I'm saying I had the knowledge, he had the knowledge. You know, and somehow I came out like this and he came out like that. That it just goes to show you, right, that if you don't, you know, keep digging beneath the surface, you know what I'm saying? Keep going beyond the horizon, you know, in terms of your knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, you know, how you can stagnate. You know what I'm saying? How if you be away from, you know, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. You know, and that's very obvious in terms of, you know, the lessons. Right? If a person is not quoting the lessons, you know, people always ask me, you know, what's the easiest way to retain your lessons? You know, the easiest way is to be building on it. But it's not just that, man. It's the whole culture, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, apparently, this is not just like riding a bike. You know how once you once you know learn how to ride a bike, you know what I'm saying? Generally speaking, it's only a couple of seconds until you know back in the swing. You know, even if it's been a while since you rode a bike. But this right here, uh, you know, I could say I learned that lesson because I mean, look, it caused me to look at it across the board, right? How we seen a lot of people just fall, man. Like this year, I'm saying in all worlds. You know what I'm saying? Dudes that, you know, everybody thought would stand up, turned out to be not stand up. You know what I'm saying? You got Puffy, Dane, you know what I'm saying? And you know, that's what it is. We don't cover that over here. But I'm saying in our world, right, we had cats, you know, that went from, you know, being revered in the culture, right? Simply because of the fact that, oh yeah, I saw that D'Angelo returned to the essence, man. That was crazy. He was only 51. You know what I'm saying? Now I was born. But you know, people go from being revered in the nation, right? Because, you know, through their artistry or whatever, that's the first time a lot of people got exposed to this knowledge. You know what I'm saying? We've seen them go from there, right, to getting bombed, to getting bombed by a colored man because you up there talking about the world is flat and it ain't no gravity. Who's this? Rob Preem Elevation. Welcome to the channel. You said 220, 220, 2025 equals born. So yeah, I guess you could say that. The truth came out. The knowledge was made born, you know, on certain individuals. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that is it goes to show you, man. You know what I'm saying? Just one of two things, right? You know, first of all, you gotta examine, G. See this, all of this shows you why you gotta examine. Cause see, look, even amongst me that's doing all this examining, right? You got a guy like this that somehow was in the cipher with us. Shallah was the science. Wisdom Be Born said they never elevated their knowledge. A lot of them brothers have the same sayings and perception they had 40 years ago when they received it. That's what I'm saying. You see what I mean? And so the thing about those people that's like that, see, they never fully embrace being God. They never fully embrace, you know, like they had that little G understanding about being God the whole time. And so this is just this is just the stuff they don't even know what this is. They just follow them. So that's what I'm saying. You got to be aware that some of these people, you know, it's not like it's not like they it's not like they fell victim. They never really had it. You know what I'm saying? But like you know, even that's a factor. You know, when I'm you know talking to the brother, and it's you know, how you, I mean, you know what? How can it's no way for me, it's no way for me to understand. See, like I always say, you're not going to look at something stupid and be like, oh, all right, yeah, I see how that makes sense. See, if you look at something stupid and it makes sense to you, you got to consider whether or not you're stupid. And why would why would that be? You know, like, look, if a person is speaking to an imaginary person that's not really there, right? Like we was talking yesterday about mental health, right? Now, if you see the person too, it's possible that you also have the same conditions. You know what I mean? But like I was saying, man, look, another factor in it is just like, look, for some people, I wouldn't even say they fell victim. If you just have to look at the reality that, see, the guys is, you know, we out there in the street, we in the schools, we in the junior high schools, we in the elementary schools. So a lot of times, we the first people that, you know, people experience, you know, except for whatever they learning in their house. A lot of times, well, for me, you know, the very next thing that, you know, I knew anything about on that level, you know what I'm saying, was the 5%. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, when I saw the math, right, I knew it was me. But see, for other people, this is just the beginning of them opening their eyes for them to really go wherever they got to go so they can be righteous. You see what I'm saying? Because see, if they faking over here, that's unrighteous. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, if they, you know, do whatever they got to do to get the inner knowledge that they need to deal with, that's peace. But see, if you just go back, you know, to the depths of religion, you know, and eating the wrong foods and all of this type of stuff, see, that's for the victim. See what I mean? Because you fell back victim to the devil's civilization. You understand what I'm saying? Supreme. Well, right now we was just, you know, I was just building on, uh, you know, how people, you know, you got to examine the people you around. You know what I'm saying? Because some of these people don't truly embrace the science that we teach in terms of the black man being God. You know, mathematics can't be argued. Can't really argue, you know, that 2 + 2 is not 4. It's not. You see what I'm saying? So they pick up on the language and the things that we speaking, right? And they have a good grasp of it, right? But they never really internalize it. You see what I mean? And that's the difference between, you know, people that have, in general, right? They have a high IQ, but they don't really have supreme intelligence. You know what I'm saying? You know, what made me think of that is, you know, a brother I know for 35 years, you know, I'm talking to him, and, you know, this is what I realized. You know what I'm saying? And then just also for us, because look, you know, either way or it can happen. Where you you go too far from the root mentally and physically. You know what I'm saying? And then you begin to blend in, you begin to blend in to the greatest society. You know what I'm saying? And then you get like how Malcolm X was saying with the coffee and the milk. You see what I'm saying? And sooner or later, we can't tell that you never was defiled. You start not, when you forget your way back to the root, that's when you fucked up back. See, that's the difference between somebody who had the knowledge, right, at one time, or somebody who got the knowledge and they strayed away, and see a regular 85. So you got 85 walk past the school every day and don't really know what we're doing there. But if somebody, but if you lose your way back to the root, that's when you fucked up the worst. See, because you had it. See, you had it. You still responsible now. I ain't got to tell you shit. Oh, you forgot where it's at? What you expect me to do? So, there's that. But we're going to get into this right here, right? This is Bernstein Muhammad. For those that's not familiar, Bernstein Muhammad was W.F. Muhammad's. Her name is Bernstein Sharif Muhammad, and she was W.F. Muhammad's secretary. And so right now we're about to see Medina Muhammad, and she's going to be telling us about this. Let's look at the title here. The Root of Civilization, the Early History of the NOI, right? The name of the channel is My Sister's House Talk Show. If you want to go over there and check it out, subscribe over there, give her a like, on the video. Show us her appreciation. Show her our appreciation for her doing this interview and giving us an opportunity to do the knowledge to some, I guess you can't call this firsthand information, but definitely, like I said, the last time we explored this topic, we looked at the outside perspective of Dr. Andrew Morrow and was it Khalid Muhammad? It was an Arab brother too that was a part of that. So now we're gonna check this one out. Let's see, we got a last couple of comments here. Said a lot of people get this knowledge but never got the spooky psychedelic stuff out of their minds. They took these teachings in a religious way. And see, that's the key, is that it's the mindset. It's the mindset that, when especially if you're reading something to try to draw up a lesson from it, right, that you could use in your life, right? As you reading about the different characters in this story, which characters you identifying with? See, that's the whole part of the mindset right there that changes everything. And see, a lot of people they never really got the mindset. They never really, those people, right? That either they never really walk with the right people, or those people that, how do you say, look, they listen but they don't hear. They look but they don't see. You know what I'm saying? I say you got to know the ledge so you don't fall off the edge. This also comes from passes and not examining each other when we see one another. The people I consider my brothers and sisters ask me questions and agrees when we see each other and vice versa. We have to get back to no one being above examination attitude. Indeed, that is one of the things that happen. You said I could cause someone to watch me to run go tell. Look, they can go tell. You know, that's the thing. I'm not under the delusion, right? I'm not I'm not under the delusion that a lot of people are, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. Like I've never been that type of person. Where like if you're unstable, right? I'm not gonna pretend that your instability is inside the realm of inside the realm of the common reality that we've established, right, about equality, you know what I mean, our dealings amongst each other, right? Every group of people got a certain things that they say, okay, this is normal right here, unless you've had all your creative power destroyed. See, like little kids, you know how you go on different blocks and little kids is playing the same game, but it's a little bit different. And you go on different blocks and they say eeny, meeny, miny, mo, a little bit different. But you go play on the court over there and the wall is out. You know what I'm saying? Some other courts, the line is out. Some other courts ain't no outs. You know what I'm saying? But the kids come together and use their creative power to say, look, this is how we do it. You know what I'm saying? What's messed up is that if they don't have the right ideas in their mind and they use their creative power, they start coming up with negativity. You know what I'm saying? If they don't have no adults around, you know what I'm saying, and they don't have the right things in their mind. But getting back to this year, John Muhammad, Bernstein Muhammad, the secretary of W.F. Muhammad, was John Muhammad's wife. So now, without further ado, right, let us see, because I haven't had a chance to do the knowledge of this too. We're going to observe this together. Let's see what we can learn today.
Welcome back to another episode of At My Sister's House Talk Show. I welcome you back. I thank you for joining us. Let me start by saying Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings to you and your family. I am greatly honored by tonight's special guest. There is so many things I could say about tonight's special guest. This sister wears many, many hats. And as I was sitting and thinking of the intro, I had to start writing them down because I'm like, okay, wait, oh yeah, and she. So our sister is a chef. She is the owner of her own catering service. She's the author of several books. She is a historian of the Nation of Islam's history, especially starting in the early years. She's a part of the Nation of Islam historical exhibit. And although she won't admit it, she is a baker because I've had her being pie. I speak of none other than our sister, my
Not for nothing, I'm almost positive that she makes a mean bean pie. So I hate to stop it just for that, but just that she brought that up, I had to say, yeah, like maybe more so than I even want to watch this video. I would like to have one of her bean pies.
Friend, Sister Medina Muhammad. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I want to thank you. I thank you because I know, one, you have a lot going on in your own schedule. But for you to take the time and come out and be with me this evening, I thank you for that.
It's an honor.
Thank you. Do you want to start by saying anything?
I want to say also, Assalamu alaikum to the listening audience, and want to thank you. All praises due to Allah. I must first thank Allah always
Yes.
for being able to sit and talk to anyone about the Nation of Islam in its beginning, the early 1930s, I say, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I thank Allah for his coming in the person of Master Fard Muhammad and raising up the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and our guide, leader, and teacher today, Minister Louis Farrakhan. And without Minister Louis Farrakhan and him bringing forth again the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Fard Muhammad to the minds of the people so that they're not forgotten.
Yes.
If it was not for him, there would be no reason for us to sit and talk today. I must always remember to thank him.
Yes, ma'am.
And thank Allah for him.
Well, I thank you. I thank you because the role you're playing and the part you're sharing of the NOI's history in those early days is so critical and important.
Absolutely.
And sis, if it wasn't for you and your family sharing this information, literally we wouldn't know this information. So I thank you for that. I thank you for your contribution. So with that said, we're now going to go into some of that valued treasure that you have and how you became a part of that valued treasure. All right. Now, this sister, we're not just talking to because she's read, because she's met some people. No. Sister Medina is the daughter of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's younger brother, Minister John Muhammad. And she's also the daughter of Mother Bernstein Sharif Muhammad, also known as the Reformer, which we're going to go into how she got that title. Now, Mother Bernstein Sharif Muhammad is the one and the only secretary of Master Fard Muhammad. And what makes this story even that much more valuable is the information that Mother Bernstein received, collected, to this day still exists, and you and your family have this information. Now, I can only imagine what it's like to know that information you have. So let's just start with the root, your mother and your father. Okay. They what year did they join the Nation of Islam? How did it come to be? What's the history there?
Well, so my father joined the Nation in 1931 with his brother and his father and mother. They all came in the Nation together. Most of the family, it was 13 of them, most of the family did not come up from the South.
Right.
Well, some of them did, but most of them came up north due to the opportunities, work opportunities. Right. Some of them would even put their age up so that they can go and work in the plant, in the factory for Fords. And later on, my father worked for Chrysler.
Okay.
Chrysler. He retired from Chrysler. But my mother came into the Nation in 1932 with her parents at the age of 17. Her father had heard the teachings first.
Right.
And he was a Baptist preacher. And he heard the teaching first. Someone had mentioned it to him.
Now, this would be Jesse James.
Yes, ma'am, indeed. Jesse James Sharif.
Yes.
Jesse James Sharif. And so he had heard the teachings first.
Right.
And he mentioned it to his wife, my grandmother. Her name was Elistine.
Yes.
Elistine. And he mentioned it to her about a man that was teaching that Jesus did not raise from the dead, and that he was. This man said that he is our brother from the East.
Wow!
And so
I mean, that's the first time I ever heard that particular angle. That I can see how that would definitely bring the people out. You know what I'm saying? Like, because her saying that her other grandfather was a preacher too. You know what I'm saying? I could definitely see how that would catch people's attention. If the man selling silks just came out and said that. But that's a new one right there. And I also noticed that she acknowledged Fard as a lot. You know what I'm saying? So that in the 1930s and beyond, that was one of the kind of, I guess, questions within the nation. You know what I'm saying? Did Fard ever say himself that he was a lot? But let's continue on. We probably learned some more new stuff.
My grandmother, first she was wondering why he was come in so late.
Right.
He would come in so late, and
let's just pause there for 1 second.
Okay.
Master Farad Muhammad would teach.
Right.
All day.
Right.
All night.
Most of the night. My mother said until the sun would rise. She said the people would come, and they will come in shifts.
Wow.
And some would leave, very few. Some would leave, and they would stay.
Now, they would go to different places, or were they at one
place? The location was 3408 Hastings Street, right over the Castle Theater. The Castle Theater was a regular movie theater.
Okay.
And so it was a great big hall over it that was for rent.
Okay.
And they rented, that was the first location of the actual mosque.
And this is in Black Bottom.
It's Black Bottom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That is known as Black Bottom. My mother spoke about how the people would come from all directions, and how happy they were once they started hearing the teachings.
Yes, ma'am.
And joining. And I was just reading something earlier today when she had wrote and said that the people would be coming from all, like, the Eastern Market area, all that area, walking, and they would have such a joyous spirit about themselves because of the teachings that Master Fard was teaching them, because he was telling them that they were the God.
Right.
They were gods.
Right.
Black man was the God.
And this is in 1930.
Right. Absolutely.
So this is after we've been hearing boy, girl, being treated like animals. Somebody's coming, your brother from the East, telling us we gods.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So,
I'm just saying, look, I hate to nitpick here, right? But she didn't say that he was going around telling people they was Muslim.
So
now go back. Your mother was kind of suspicious of her husband.
She was kind of suspicious, absolutely, because he would stay out so late, and she asked him why, what's going on, why you come in so late, and so forth. And so he told her that he said, well, I have to tell you something. And he began to tell her about the teachings of Master Fard's teaching.
Wow.
And she asked him, could I go? Could females go? And he said, oh, yes.
Right.
So she went, and she remained going, and she joined.
Yes.
She joined. Yes.
Praise.
And my mother went right along with them. She said it was the first time they went was on a Wednesday night.
Alhamdulillah.
Was on a Wednesday night. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. That's beautiful. Now, ultimately, at this time, your mother's a teenager.
17.
17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And your mother is one of how many?
She's one of 8.
8 children.
Right.
So now the family is going out.
Mm-hmm.
And your mother makes a comment after seeing observing something that upon a visit.
She was. She said she was always been very inquisitive.
Inquisitive. That's a word.
So she noticed that there was this brother typing with just 2 fingers.
Right.
And she said she didn't realize that when she was going there, she had seen so many of her friends that had been going to high school with. They were going to the meetings as well.
So everybody was coming as families.
Right. Families joining. Absolutely. Even when I grew up, it was more when one family came, families, cousins, everybody joined the nation. May not be everybody in that family, but it was generations. It was generations coming up all the way down to the babies. And that's hence
when we hear Master Farad gave out 25,000 names.
Right.
They were covering their families.
At least 25,000 names in Detroit alone.
Wow.
That was just in Detroit. And so when my mother saw, his name was Ben Sabakan, who became the first principal of the University of Islam School. Right. And she saw him doing some typing. And she mentioned to one of her friends that she said, "Wow, look at him. He's the only typer with 1 finger." It's just pecking. And she said,
and you can get a whole visual of that.
Right. She said, "I could use all my fingers, like that." And so she said the word must have gotten back to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because later on, not too long after that, one of the meetings, mosque meetings were held, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad asked, was the sister here that said she can type? And so she said she was wondering. He said, "And if so, please stand."
Right.
So he said, so she said she was wondering if it was somebody else. She said she knew she could type. She looked around in all those hundreds of people, and no one else stood. And she said it must be talking about me. So she stood up.
Out of hundreds.
Out of hundreds, she stood up, and he asked her who her name, and asked her was her parents with her, and she replied, "Yes, sir." And he asked them to stand as well. And so when he noticed that her father, who was the Baptist preacher, Jesse James Sharif, he said, and he see him standing, he said, "Oh, the ice maker's daughter."
Okay, now we're going to stop here. Because when you said this to me last time, I thought, okay, so your family was ice houses and they had something to do with making ice.
Not U.S. Ice. No, it was not U.S. Ice Company, no.
So I was soon corrected by my sister. It's not making reference to physical ice.
Right.
But it's making reference to
what ice does. And so it's the freezing of the brain, the teaching that the churches teach, the pastors and preachers it was a reference to the teachings as freezes the brains.
Right. Mm-hmm. The ice maker.
The ice maker. And so so then he wanted to he asked her how many words could she type. And she said at that point, it was about 40, 50 words per minute. And later on, she was able to type 90 words.
I mean, all this part is interesting and everything, but I want to get to the far part. Okay? This is interesting in terms of, real life stories of how, the movement got started and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, the type of stuff that I know about the 5%, you know what I mean, by knowing the brothers who was around right then. But, you know, I would like to get a little deeper into the father part. I hope it, you know, this family history part doesn't eat up the whole thing.
First per minute with a 95% accuracy.
Now, I know we're not going to be able to, in one interview, cover everything.
Well, we come back.
But definitely, because even the history to her typing skills is its own story by itself.
Absolutely.
So it's as if she was being prepared for this role before she even came to see Master Fard Muhammad.
Absolutely, because when she learned her typing skills in the Miller. It was called Miller High School, which that building is still in that school. I think it has changed name,
right.
but it's still there. And which was about a little bit from her house where she lived. And she would go there and learn. And it was a very prejudiced school. She mentioned it was very prejudiced. And the teacher would, she said she would sit in a corner and that type of thing. And so the teachers, every time it came time for grading, they would hold her back. They would hold her back. And she said even other students couldn't understand why she didn't pass, because they would tell her, you the fastest in the class. You're the best in the class. Even they would tell her that, she mentioned. And so, but she said she realized that the more they held her back, the better she became.
Which was in preparation for something coming down the line.
Coming down the line, absolutely.
That's so fun. I remember when you first shared it with me, and it shows the wisdom of Master Fard Muhammad, because it's no coincidence. Right. And one thing we want to stress, and it's been said to stress, not just the one and only secretary, but this is a teenage girl.
17.
That was selected and chose to hold this important role. And what I found so interesting from our conversations, you know how often we can lose things in a move?
Right.
How often we can, I've moved several times, and I can't tell you I always have things. I always seem to lose something along the way. Mm-hmm. But for him to select a young girl who the information she got in 1932, 31, we still can see it in 2022. And what's so significant about us saying the typing, for all the students who are watching, know those lessons were typed first by Mother Bernstein Sharif.
Absolutely.
You know, the information she was typing, and it had to be, would you say, flawless?
It had to be. Absolutely. She had mentioned one time where she when she would make a mistake, she had to, because back then there was no copying machine.
Right.
There was no copy.
Not for nothing. That's a little bit of history right there. But you know, those that's newer to the knowledge, I already knew that. But that's definitely something right there to make a mental note.
Copiers, the best you can get would be a carbon to put in between the papers. So if there's a mistake for one of the on one of the papers, she had to do it all over again. There was no whiteouts.
Right,
there was no.
Hey, look, that's how the lessons was back in the days when you was quoting it. That's how we learned to quote it. Like if you had to, let's say you was coming to get your 1 in 36, you had to quote the whole 1 in 10. You know what I'm saying? And if you messed up, you had to start all the way back at the beginning. See, it was the ways that we went through it back then, though, it burned it into you. You know what I'm saying? Where it would be extremely difficult for you to just draw a total blank. You know what I'm saying? If you went through the history in those ways.
There was none of that,
Right.
you know. So she would have to.
Like, I bet she could quote it just from doing that, right? I bet she could quote it probably better than anybody. Like, she probably could quote it better than anybody until the 5%ers came.
She would have to type it all over again, and
Wow.
Master Farad was teaching her how to fold the paper to make, because sometimes she would type two things on one piece of paper, and so she was trying to separate and the two documents, and the way she did it, the ends of the paper were raggedy,
Right.
and he didn't like that, and he told her. Well, he asked he asked the other brothers, because it was 9 laborers. She was the only female in among nine laborers. So everybody else were male, and he asked them, anybody want this that looked like a dog chewed on it? And he said, she said, I want it. He said, yeah, quite naturally, you want it. You want it. And so he told her, he began to show her how to fold the paper so that it would be real clean and not raggedy. And so she said it hurt her so bad, because he took her head. He said, do you see it? Do you see? Do you see what I'm talking about? Fold it this way, fold. Then you can take it through your teeth a little bit, and this, that, and else. So he demonstrated to her how to do it. And it was, she said she was so hurt. She just wanted to cry.
Right.
Because the way he was so hard on her. But then later on, after all the work, then he said, let's go get some ice cream. She said she didn't want no ice cream.
At this point.
So now
look, I hate to I hate to interject into the story right here, but look, I'm fairly sure if any of the men in that room told that story, it wouldn't have been it wouldn't have came off the same way. You know what I mean? Like how she's saying that he's being hard on her, right? I'm sure, like, if it was men, they would just say, yeah, nah, that was just something that happened. You know what I'm saying? But it's interesting. That's one of the interesting things about hearing these accounts.
he tried to, soften her up a little bit and everything, and so she said she was thinking to herself, I just want to go home.
Right.
So he said, you sure you don't want any ice cream? And she said, no, sir, I don't want any ice cream.
Right.
I just want to go home. And he said, okay. He said, well, we'll take the reformer home.
Wow.
And
now the title, the reformer, that wasn't given to everybody. That was only given to Mother Bernstein.
Well, she was the first one to carry that title.
Right.
She was the first one to carry the title reformer, but she was the one and only secretary reformer to him. But she was there. Once the title became into existence later on under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he eliminated the reformer and just be called a secretary. Right.
Now, where did the reformer title come from? What's the meaning?
So Master Farad gave her the title, the reformer, and I want to read her description of what the reformer means.
This is what I'm saying. Now we're getting down to the nitty gritty.
And she says, in her own writing, this is her writing. In her own writing, she says, the reformer, first she said, I held every position available. From reformer, then she explains, one who changes, establishes structure, organize, put in place that which is needed to bring about growth and advancement.
Wow. What a big title for
On
a
a
young
17
girl.
year right, when I read it, I was like, what?
Wow.
To bring about growth and advancement. Wow, that's deep. And so she further says on here how she was the secretary, the treasurer, personal secretary to Master Farad, also to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. She was the first typist, was the fastest typist in her high school class. All literature, letters, lessons, problem book, facts, etc. She converted from longhand into typing.
So right now, for every student that enrolled in the nation, those were originally first typed by Mother Bernstein Sherville.
This young lady right here at 17, a young girl. And so she goes further on to say that of the 9 first laborers chosen by Master Farad, she, at this time that she wrote this, she was the only one survive.
I'm saying, look, I'm after this, right? We're gonna have to hear at least one more, because as I'm listening to this, right? As I'm listening to this, I'm wondering, this don't sound. This sounds a lot more like the 5%. Like, see, even how they like kind of amazed. Not amazed, but they acknowledging that she was only 17 when she did that. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, amongst the 5%, that's common. Maybe not the typing part. The typing part is definitely that's a skill. You know what I'm saying? That's a skill that one has to observe there. But and then you got the 9 laborers. You know what I'm saying? And when you listen to what she wrote down about the definition of reformer, right? You got to remember, if this is 1931 and 1932, right? The 16th degree doesn't exist yet. But she basically just paraphrased the 16th degree right there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, maybe she'll get into how some of the more, like, so far, right? I haven't heard any real religious aspects. You know what I'm saying? So, I would have to wonder, that's what I'm wondering now. Like, all right, where all this religious stuff came from today? But let's hear it out.
Surviving. She was the last one, only one surviving. And yet laboring in the Muslim community. She was the only female laborer of the nine laborers. She was the only female. She graded letters which everyone had to write for their holy name. She also helped those who could not hardly write.
She was assisting them
by taking their hand, guiding them,
wow,
giving them writing exercises.
Wow.
Until they can write on their own.
Praise be to Allah.
She also said she helped to set up the women's class, MGT and GCC, was a captain over it.
Whoa. Learn something new every day. You heard that? She's the one who set up the MGT and GCC. Hey, look, that's some shit. Look, I'm old school. When you go outside tomorrow, bomb somebody on that. Listen. When you get outside tomorrow, bomb somebody on that. They don't know. Listen. Hey, listen. Let this should have been back in high school. Bombing everybody tomorrow.
Advanced to instructor over it by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to train and instruct other captains, placed over it temple secretary, advanced to instructed secretary.
So these are nowadays the language would be national captain, national secretary. She was the first.
She was the first. And she says it. She says, that's what she says right here, by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, to train others in the position. In most positions, she was the first. And became instructor over them. Most times, she held 2 positions at one.
Wow.
At the same time, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would send various workers in the community to her for instructions or clarification, which many times would include ministers. Ministers. Because she knew, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, because she knew the work from the beginning when the nation first started.
Wow. Wisdom. That's wisdom. So she was our first captain, first secretary, first female laborer of the 9 laborers, and the honor of working directly with, despite the zero.
Just a we call that like a station. We call those station messages. This is not a Hotep channel. Just a little FYI.
No tolerance from Master Farad.
Yeah.
She was the one and only secretary.
Right. That's right.
Praise be to Allah. There is, when we say what is the meaning of MGT and GCC, part of that answer, it talks about the training of women and girls. And this shows the value that Master Farad Muhammad put in all that came through the door, with the children, with the young people, because all of them played a role regardless. And as you and I have talked about the children's role initially in MUI in the early days and the founding. So just to see the 17-year-old girl.
A 17.
And the weight of that, it blows my mind. Because an adult, that would be a lot on an adult.
On an adult, absolutely.
And so I'm assuming if he kept long hours teaching at the mosque, there were long hours involved in the work.
I was getting ready to read that to you. She said that
wow, this is phenomenal. This is phenomenal history.
Yeah, I was getting ready to. She said that,
and this is her actual notes. This is her actual handwriting and everything.
Absolutely, this is her actual writing.
Now, while she's looking for this, I do want to say, Sister has a website, www.thenoireformer.com. www.thenoireformer.com. We will include that. But check out the videos on the website. Not just can you order the books, where a lot of what Sister Medina is sharing is right here in the book, so you can have them in your personal library. But it's words from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the value of what Mother Bernstein's contribution to the Nation of Islam in our early years, and the value of who she is. And it will, if you've never heard the words before, it will really touch your heart. And as a student, as laborers, as soldiers in this, you want to have these books in your library. Now, because there's so much information, we're going to go into a segment 2 where you will see each of the books, and Sister Medina will highlight those and give you more information on how to order them. That will be available on them, included, so you can contact Sister Medina. And I also want to add this. Although she's my sister and my friend, I could call her, and she know I will call and fact check her when I see anything on social media. It's like, Sister Medina, is that true? Get the actual facts on it, and she'll tell me if it's real or not. And if she don't know, she'll tell me that too. But what I want to say, this kind of information, Minister Farrakhan said, every believer needs to hear this. So please don't think she's just on my couch. She ain't just at my house. Invite her to your city.
Absolutely.
Invite her to speak to the believers. Invite the community out. Because if we don't understand the foundation we're standing on, how can we grow as a nation?
That's
this
right.
information, we don't want to lose it, miss out on it. We want everyone to know this information. So we're going to get back. I think she found it, but I just wanted to make sure I add that in there. We're going to provide her phone number. You can get in touch with her. Book her to come to your city. She loves doing that.
Absolutely. 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 And I approve that message.
And that message was approved.
So she goes on to write. She says, I was set in on the school and temple meetings long enough to bring back reports of how things were going, because I would be asked these things at the dinner table. She said, my job started at 9 in the morning at the temple and ended there at 4. Then I would be taken to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's home to continue on.
Hold on. Because I see a couple people asking me questions, but I can't really see the screen right now because I'm looking at this, right? But I do see a question over there. Would you mind interviewing her, right? Now look, you know, I'm you know, I how would you say there? You know, I don't really make no apologies. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know me, right? Now look, Jigga 1017, right? Who is this? I don't have no moderators in here. Who is this free Ali? Like, I don't know what's going on. Oh, nah, look, she's definitely gonna have to send me some bean pots. That's something different. But look, listen, people, I asked you this question too, right? The Jigga 1017. If I interview her, right? What question do you think I'm gonna have to ask? I'm gonna have to ask her. What do you think is the one question? You know, that's open to the room. What is the one question that, listen, maybe you wouldn't ask, but you know that I'm gonna ask. Anyone? Free Ali 777 Ali. What's the what's going on with you, man? I don't even got the screen turned that way today. But that's over to the floor. Anyone? No one can think, and because look, it could be controversial. You say, you know me? I mean, a lot of people know me. You know really what that got to do. What they got to do with you being in my comment box right now? How did Far Sean prove he's God or God in person? Nah. I would ask her if he said that. Right, you said so. Right, Fard never said he was God. Quashim said Fard never said he was God. He said his uncle was God. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, those would be questions that I would ask. But see, the top question I had to ask is, see, especially how she just went through that when she said that when she was typing the degrees, right, that if she made a mistake, she had to go back to the beginning. Right? Did everybody catch that? So, the question I got is, what's good with that 9,080 years from the date of this writing? Like, what happened right there? Did that get, somebody way down the line? What's good with that? I mean, nobody's wondering that. Nobody is just me. Is just am I the only one? Listen, if I'm the only one, I'll let it go. But I would have to ask, right? Because if that's the case, I mean, you're saying everybody missed that? Because it's not like they didn't know, right? Because in other writings of Elijah Muhammad, is the 900 years is dead. So you said according to her father, John Muhammad, Father did call himself God. Now look, she did acknowledge, you know what I'm saying, in the early part of the video, she acknowledged Fuad as Allah. You know what I'm saying? And God came and Fuad in the person of Allah. But yeah, that's that's what that's what I would ask if I had the opportunity. I don't know if that's not politically correct there.
And well after 2 a.m. sometime, I would be taken home, and by the time I get warm in the bed, I had to get out of bed and go right back to do something else that could not wait.
Wow.
In fact, my time was really their time.
Wow. 17.
I heard and I obeyed.
Praise be to it.
And that's what we would hear all the time, even when I was coming up. As Muslims, that's all we heard. We hear and obey.
Yes.
We hear no back. We didn't ask no questions on nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
Whatever somebody told us, the Muslims or anybody in position tell us to do, what we did it. And
Right.
if we asked a question, you had to answer that. Everybody.
Right.
And then go home and answer to your mom and your daddy.
Right.
And so you got whoopings lined up. If
Right.
you ain't doing it, so you better
For all that free, don't do all that. Just follow instructions.
Just follow
right
instructions. Just following, instructions. She said, I heard and I obeyed. She said, by being the reformer and secretary to Master Farah many times, he would bring me home himself.
Wow.
Sometimes he would take me and one other for a ride around the Lake Shore Drive in Chicago.
So now we in Chicago at this point.
In Chicago.
Okay.
She said sometimes the other person would be the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Sister Clara, or Ben Sabakan.
The original typist.
Yeah, right.
The original
See, you remember,
two-finger typist.
Right. You learned it.
Praise be to Allah.
Yeah, so.
Now, did she ever describe the driving skills of Master Farah?
She did. She said that he would drive very fast. She said he had a heavy foot. He would drive very, very fast. That's what she said.
Praise be to Allah.
So I'm gonna read something else.
Okay.
She said, we the believers had bought him a car.
You can't take off in the mothership going slow. You got to pick up that speed, that airborne speed,
which could only hold 3 people.
In order for the what I called that yesterday, in order for the flux capacitor to kick in, you gotta be going a certain speed.
3 people, 2 others beside himself, 2 others beside himself. His teachings spread it like wildfire among the black people. The time was hard, plus being a people only 65 years up from slavery, most were unlearned. And the teaching that the white man is the devil and the black man is the God was easily accepted.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
She said the temple would be packed at every meeting, and many times lines were formed outside, down the street, and around the corner with black people waiting to come in and listen to Brother Farad, because he told them to call him brother. Right. But as I read, I'm going to tell you how that changed. Said, brother.
Sounds like we get to, I see y'all going back and forth in the comment section there, not because I was about to say that, right? That brother, that doesn't sound like, something where you expecting people to then turn around and be talking to you about you and, you Allah and the person, and they're not. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing if we saying you Allah and the person, we Allah and the person too. But look, like I'm saying, so far, maybe that's what she's about to switch to, because I'm still listening. This sounds like the parliament, right? This sounds like, a law that had the school on 126th Street and 7th Avenue. See, right now they discussing the law. They got a temple on 127th Street and 6th Avenue. But that's what the law said, man. I'm your older brother. So I'm still waiting for when the religion kicks in, because she's talking about, tangible, practical application. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, some of these things, I'm aware that the lessons is not written yet. So let's see what this transition is.
Farad would hold sessions, teach, recess, and teach again. Hundreds would attend each session, and some, not many in parentheses, would leave. What did he teach? The 6,000 year history. It was called the 6,000 year history and was fascinating. He would draw a circle on the blackboard to return to at the end of his teaching and would complete it and would complete it, calling it the mother's plane.
Wait a minute. I gotta bring that back. She just snuck that in there. She just snuck that in there on me. I don't know what happened right there, but look, we have to bring we have to we have to bring that back right there. Did she sneak that in on everybody? It was like she was talking regular, then she just said mother's plane. So let's recheck that.
The white man is the devil and the black man is the God was easily accepted.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
She said the temple would be packed at every meeting, and many times lines were formed outside, down the street, and around the corner with black people waiting to come in and listen to Brother Farad because he told them to call him brother.
Right.
But as I read, I'm going to tell you how that changed. Said Brother Farad would hold sessions, teach, recess, and teach again. Hundreds would attend each session, and some, not many in parentheses, would leave. What did he teach? The 6,000 year history. It was called the 6,000 year history and was fascinating. He would draw a circle on the blackboard to return to at the end of his teaching and would complete it complete it, calling it the mother's plane. The biblical wheel in the middle of the wheel that Ezekiel saw in the Bible. He taught that.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait a fucking minute. Wait a fucking minute. Did anybody catch that? Or was it just me? Hold on. Let me bring that back one more time. Because what I could have sworn she said is that the mothership is from Ezekiel. It's the wheel from Ezekiel. Is that Jiggy 1017? Are you out there? Is this is this is this the is because I never knew this was. Is this the commonly known foundation of the mothership? So where the fuck is all this island in the pond shit come from? Where this? Hold on, man. Hold on. Yeah, we need to interview. Wait a minute, man. Wait a goddamn minute. Where's all this island in the pond shit come from then? I don't know about that, but I know Ezekiel's will. I know about the island in the pond, and the tiny green men that never been with a woman and never smiled. Okay, but y'all gotta help me, man. The people that got any type of history, how did this become real? How did it become real? How we go from Ezekiel to the Battle of Los Angeles in 1942? Somebody cover that. I need some help here. Elamine, do you know about this? How did we get, if we talk about a prophecy from the Bible, right? How did this thing become real? How did this become where people pull over on the side of the road talking about they saw the mothership? That's what I'm saying. See, look, it's some things, bro. Listen, let me tell you something. It's a good thing that I'm finding out about that after 40 fucking years. If somebody would have told me that in the beginning, I would not be here. You see why it's a good thing? See, it's a good thing that the 5% found me young, man. Listen, that would blow the whole lid off the whole thing for me right there. So you went in the poison book. You went in the poison book and got a story that's supposed to be our salvation? See, I'm taking it too personally. This ain't even about how I see it. This is just about the history as she's it, but I'm just saying. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that to come out. You said the mother plane being Ezekiel's will is fundamental NOI teaching. Yeah, not NOI. See, that's not the stuff. See, when they trying to get you to come in the mosque, they don't tell you that. would actually be walking for the 4 train, right? And the mosque was on 5th Avenue, right? I had all kinds of discussions with them. And they used to always be saying, yeah, it's all this other knowledge up in the temple that you need to come. You got to step up into the house. That's what they was talking about? That is crazy, man. You learn something new every day.
And teach again. Hundreds would attend each session, and some, not many in parentheses, would leave. What did he teach? The 6,000-year history. It was called the 6,000-year history. It was fascinating. He would draw a circle on the blackboard to return to at the end of his teaching and would complete it and would, and would complete it, calling it the mother's plane. The biblical wheel in the middle of
See,
the
that's what I'm saying. Look, if she stopped right there, it sounds like he completed the cipher. Like he started from the knowledge, told them what he's going to build with them on, right? What this cipher is going to be about, and then, when he returned, back to the when the class was over, right? Then everything that was taught was complete with the idea. You see what I'm saying? And so it's what he's teaching is the salvation. What he's teaching is what's going to allow you to draw yourself up. See, once we go into all this wheel, Ezekiel, all this stuff, man, come on, man.
wheel that Ezekiel saw in the Bible. He taught that this plane was built to destroy America.
Wow.
This made us happy to know at least someone was going to kill the enemy that made us slaves.
Yes, ma'am.
Therefore, the meeting was always emotionally high, and he himself added to this emotion by at times hitting his pointing stick on the blackboard.
So, as he's speaking.
Right. Or at first on the speaker stand. And he said he was our Jesus.
Praise be to Allah.
And
all right, now, this is getting, look, this, I asked for it. let's say that at the outset, right? I asked for it. I asked for how did this stuff start getting spooky? And now we getting some firsthand. I'm getting some firsthand. Whatever this is. How would you consider this? It's the writings of a. It's a firsthand account written down. So, where are we now? Right? Where first he said, I'm your brother Fard, right? Which would tend to kind of demonstrate that he wasn't trying to place himself above the other people. But then he's saying, I'm your new Jesus, right? And then you tucking all this other Christianity now, and now this is taking on a Christian context now. So to the people that you're speaking to, right, who's coming from this Christian mindset, right, is this him saying to them that he's God? As per, I see comments in the comment section with some people saying that he never said he was God, and some people saying that he absolutely said he was God. But let's continue.
spoke with great authority. He often referred to that his 11 brothers in the east were ready and waiting. I know this. I never told you that one.
You had never read this to me.
I know.
I don't know if you're going to edit my expression.
I never did this on no show. This the first time I did this.
I never read last part about the 11 brothers.
Okay, I'm great.
Let me say this real quick, so she can bear me witness. Whenever the phone rings and I see it's her name or I call her, I already got the notebook, and she'll start talking. She said, "Are you writing this stuff down?" Yes, I am. Because again, we're not gonna pick up a book and get.
Now hold on. I see you put something right here. That's not our Bible. That the Bible, what she's talking about with all this Ezekiel stuff in it, that Bible got 6,000 years of history. That's not our Bible. Our Bible is supposed to have, right? It's supposed to be complete with 25,000 years of history, but it's supposed to have 15,000 years of history already. That's not our Bible. That's various people that have wrote their Bible over the time. From whatever Greek people and Hebrew people and Constantine and King James, etc., etc., etc. That's not our Bible.
This information, and we have lost too many who have this wisdom. Yes. We have to preserve our history. And again, I have to lay stress on. Minister Farrakhan said, every believer needs to hear this. Absolutely. All of it's not in the books. That's why you got to get her to your city.
Yes, yes.
I get the honors of talking to her. But this is one or two sheets of thousands of sheets. Yeah. Okay, this is information that we're not just talking about a minister, and that's not taken away from anybody's roles or positions, but we're talking about direct information and knowledge on Master Farid Muhammad firsthand. This blows my mind. She and I could talk, and all of a sudden we both crying because what she's doing is so important to she know her role in life because of her promise to her mother, which we're going to get to.
Absolutely.
And I've heard you say you didn't even realize what you were saying to her. So we're going to get to that. But again, back to Master Farid Muhammad's word, because I ain't never heard this before.
I know you never heard this one. So she says he often referred to that his 11 brothers in the East were ready and waiting for his word to come to destroy America.
So I'm just asking, because see, now we getting deep, we getting deep into the NOI sign. So is the 11 brothers, that she's talking about, is those supposed to be the other so they could be the 12 scientists or something? What is so is there some significance to the 12 that I don't know? He said the Bible and Holy Quran came from Al-Quran, Al-Kitab, 25,000 year history. Yeah, from Adam to now, it's not 25,000 years. So that's not our Bible. Exactly what you just said. It comes from, look, the white man comes from us. Is he God?
Can you imagine hearing this in 1930 when you know your parents and grandparents and what they suffered?
Right.
And we're also talking about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his family coming from the South and what they witnessed.
Absolutely.
And as she bore witness, it's easy to accept this truth. Mm-hmm. And you didn't mention this part, but I think it's important to know we're talking about a very heavily accented.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, she said that he had a very heavy accent, and he would often say to them, "I hope you understand what I'm trying to say to you."
Wow.
She said because one example she gave, she said that he would say, like I would say this here and that over there.
Right.
Well, he would say here and here.
Right. Right.
You know. So yes,
But
it was.
despite the accent, they sat for hours listening.
You know the magic question right here, right? What kind of action? You know what I'm saying? Like every time they keep saying it, I keep waiting for them to say, you know, this kind of accent, that kind of accent. But you know, let's see if that comes up.
Despite
They
the
said
accent,
he didn't never sleep. He couldn't have slept. I know. I was reading something else he had wrote about my Aunt Clara, and when Master Fraud would be at the house, and she said Aunt Clara would go to bed. She get up, they still up talking all night long. And when you look at it, when you look at the time he spent, he didn't have time
to sleep. And we know the
Because
Honorable
he
Elijah
was
Muhammad
always on-
said that.
Yeah,
He could
didn't have
never
time.
catch him sleeping.
No, he would never sleep. He never slept. And so it was just the time, 3.5 years, and he had to hurry up because they was on him. The authorities was on him, you know, going to jail. And so eventually he stopped teaching because he was warned so many times. And then the Honorable Elijah Muhammad would do the teachings.
Because there was an incident in which your father went to jail as well.
Absolutely.
In relations to the schools, correct?
That's correct. The enemy did not want us to have our own school.
Right.
And so my parents were warned to take their children out of the Muslim school. And my parents did not take heed that warning. And so they eventually came to the house and they took the 4 school-aged children, the younger children at that time. They took those 4. I wasn't born yet, but it was the 4 younger ones at that time, and this happened in 1953. 1953.
So now we're going to set the tone. Your mother has been laboring at this point since 1931, 32. 1932.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now we at 1953.
Mm-hmm.
So we 21 years later.
Right.
4 small children.
Mm-hmm.
Pregnant
She was pregnant at the time, absolutely. She was pregnant at the time with her 12th child because she had 14 children. Her and my dad had 14 children, and she was pregnant with the 12th child. She was 7 months pregnant at the time when this happened. So when they came to get the children, my dad was not there. And they sent him to jail. Once everything went down, they sent him to jail. And he had to do 30 days in jail, but only serving on the weekend. And then
that lasts a long time.
That's a long time.
Doing just weekends to equal 30 days. Yeah. That's a minute.
Because they wanted him to continue working, continue his job, you know, and so forth. So that's the way that happened. Right. And my mother never could. She would. I heard them say, and I heard my sisters and them say that when the children were taken, they were put in detention and then foster home for about 90 days. And my father would come and see them when he could, but every time my mother, she never could go because she would just faint. She never could go and see him.
You know, when the first time I heard it, my first immediate thought went to Emmett Till in the
Yeah.
story, because Emmett Till was killed in the early 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And the similarity of
Yeah, I mean, look, they dropping it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm against what they saying, but let's get back to the letters, man. Let's get see what when she was reading out the letters, man. It was heated up. You know what I'm saying? You know when they just kind of start talking about how they saw it. It's not quite as exciting for me. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue on.
someone knocking at the door and taking him. Now you have who you've been told and teaching your children. The white man is the devil. They knock at the door and you have to give your children. As a mother of 4, I can honestly say I can't even.
Oh man, see this is this is like let me not be the president of the He-Man Women Haters Club right now, but it's like why come on. See, this is how stories get born, right? That the Nation of Islam is just they just drag women. they just they just work women to the bone, work them to death. I mean, okay, we understand. We understand, you know what I'm saying? And look, we appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. But I'm saying, let's get to the far part, man. Let's get to the early history of the NOI, like you said right there.
Imagine it.
You can't even imagine.
I can't. I mean, Sister Medina, my children can go to somebody's house I know, and I'm like, okay, bring Maz back now.
Right.
But for someone to take them,
it's a test of, it's a test of faith.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, all through the scriptures, Allah speaks about the test that He gives to those who say they believe, and we all will be tested.
So, I heard Minister Farrakhan do a lecture. We all were invited to Chicago, and he did a lecture called "The Way We Were." And listening to the sacrifice of your mother and your father, listening to the sacrifice of, I know, so many believers at that time. And we were talking on sisterhood, but it's technically the brotherhood and the sisterhood of the Nation of Islam. I want to.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. Because look, and like I said, I wouldn't take that away from her. But so far, she's building the Nation of Islam one-man army style. She's building one-man army style. So I'm just saying, look, we hammered a couple nails or whatever in there, the brothers might have added on a teensy bit.
First go here. Many of the men went to prison at one time.
Yes.
Which affected the nation. And the role of the woman became very prevalent.
Absolutely.
Very important. And Mother Clara Muhammad, may Allah forever be pleased.
Amen.
She played a key part in helping, not amongst the women, but in our nation as a whole.
Absolutely. She would go and visit while they were in prison. And she would go and visit her and some of the sisters, and they would go and visit, and she would bring reports back and forth from the mosque or and so forth, and she was keeping everything going. She was the nucleus to keep everything going and not stop. And so they wouldn't allow the actual book, the Quran, into the prison. They wouldn't allow it. So she and some sisters got together and they hand wrote it. And that's how they were able to do their studies in the prison.
Praise be to Allah.
They hand wrote it. Yes.
What a task.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, that was a lot of weight. Again, we look at the contribution of Mother Bernstein Sharif Muhammad and her works. And Mother Clara Muhammad had a great responsibility in upholding our nation and keeping it going.
Absolutely.
While the brothers were in prison making that sacrifice.
Absolutely.
So tying that point in.
Bunch of sacrifices.
It was a lot of sacrifices. And because, again, being that I joined the nation in 1990, I hear a lot of and being blessed to be here in Detroit, we meet believers who were a part of the earlier years of the nation, but this even goes back earlier than that.
Absolutely right.
And I've heard the sacrifices of the women in their dress at that time. It ain't all the garments we got today and all of that. They made a great sacrifice. The role of brotherhood and sisterhood in the sacrifice of the nation, how would you say in comparison? Or at that time, the spirit of the sacrifice?
Well, the love, even when I was growing up in the nation in the 70s and don't want to go back too far.
Okay, we ain't got to go all the way back. We ain't got to go all the way. We ain't got to give numbers.
Like, but it was, the spirit was so different. And I know my mother and father I remember seeing them at the table, and they would laugh and talk about only they knew in the house,
right.
Because they were the only ones that were there in the early 30s and 40s, and they would talk about, you remember this one and that one, and they would laugh, and they would laugh. Yeah, remember he this, he that,
right.
And then next thing you know, I see them crying.
Right.
And I'm like, God, why they crying? And they would be talking about how strong the love was, how much they loved each other, and they was talk about how they didn't see that type of love before, had never witnessed it in their life. I want to read something that she wrote about that.
Yeah. Getting back to the letters.
Wow.
About the love that that existed then, and how they all felt about each other as Muslims. So I'm going to start out by saying, as we have mentioned before about the Tuesday being a special, like a holiday for the believers that Master Fard had set up for them. He asked the believers to set a date, what day did they want to set aside for them to have fun, and literally to have fun. So that's exactly what they did. Even though he was strict, and when it came time for business, but he also demonstrated to them an example of how to have balance in your life. And so, because we can't be all play and we can't be all serious, so, but he demonstrated to them how to have a balance in your life. And so on this Tuesday, they would first, whatever business that they had to take care of, or whatever, the teachers about the school, students, whatever concerns of business, they would take care of that first on Tuesday morning, and then they would go and they would have fun.
Right.
And so they would often go to Wali's house. Wali was a Caucasian, blue-eyed. My mother said blue-eyed devil. He was Caucasian, and he had a home out here in Ferndale, and he owned his home. He was highly educated, from Georgia. From Georgia. And so they would go to his house, or they would go and have picnics at Belle Isle. But she said most of the time they went to Wali's house.
Right.
And they would dance and have a good time, play games, and Master Fard playing games with him. And he would dance and.
What kind of games? let us find out. Let us find out that far you should shoot dice too.
Uh, give them prize. Whoever
All right.
won, he would give prizes. Give them prizes as well. We give when we do our exhibit, we show a handkerchief that he had given to my mother as a gift, and he write on the handkerchief to and her initials, B.S. Bernstein Cherie. That's
Right.
Bernstein Cherie. And so and so her initials, and he had from WDF at the bottom on the
Wow.
handkerchief. So that's a gift that he had given her. And but there were times when they got together and they had good time, played music and
Right.
everything. And so she said that when they would go to the picnics, for instance, they were told to bring things that bring food that you think no one else would bring.
Okay. All right.
Bring
Get
something
creative.
totally different. Yeah.
Okay.
And when you come, don't eat your own food. Eat someone else's food.
Wow.
And so she says here, each one was told to bring something and to try to think of something perhaps no one else would bring.
Okay.
She said a long table was formed, and not like most picnics, the food was put on the table all together. And all together. And this brought about, made the loving for your brother and sister what you love for yourself.
Right.
And the doing nothing to no one that which you would not have done unto yourself, because the Muslims life in those days, there was no hatred, envy, jealousy, no arguing or fighting between believers.
Mm.
She said the greeting of Assalamu alaikum, which means peace, was not only called out to one another, but exercised in the daily life. Unity was so tight that when you harmed one, you had the rest to harm. Love was felt from breast to breast.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
When one got in trouble, all came
Right.
to his or her aid. That's what she said.
See, now we getting back to the 5% part. Look, I would tell you one thing as I'm listening to these letters, right? It's almost like, you know, he's him, I'm me. But I'm saying I can put myself in a lot of shoes, right, and see where's the stuff that I'm gonna teach my 5%, and where's the stuff that I'm gonna leave in the like I can tell why some of this stuff is very familiar to me, and some of it is totally foreign to me. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't even know what the inside of the mosque look like. So we got a couple more minutes here. When we finish checking this out, I see it's a couple of brothers in there. El Mean, I know Jigga 1017. Y'all gonna have to fill me in here. Because I see some people contradicting some of the things in here too. You know what I mean? So we're gonna check it out after. But I just, that was the contrast in the practical parts and the religious parts is very evident to me.
So I just wanted to read that part. And she also was talking about how glad when they would come to the mosque, and how glad everybody was to see each other. She said some of them did not even know how to say the greetings right. She said some would say salam alaikum,
Right. Right.
Laika salam. She said that was the best they could do.
Right.
You know, if a person is uneducated, you speak
Exactly.
according to that education,
Right.
you know, level that you have. And so she was saying how that's the way, you know, some of them were, but the love in those days was, she said she had never seen or
Love
witnessed
like
any type of love like that in her whole life. So
I
she had
think
never
what you
seen
said
that.
was so impactful. All of it is, but when you said saying peace wasn't just words, but it was exercise.
It was exercise.
You know, Sister Medina, we knew we couldn't do it in one show. We already knew this was going to be a part 2. There's no way to get it all in. But I'm honored, so honored that you took the time to come and start the conversation.
Absolutely.
Because this is vital. And the point of this show is exactly that, to share the information that all of us don't have, and to give the example of and showcase what we have right here in our nation. So again, I advise and I strongly suggest you please check out the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan regarding Mother Bernstein and the information that Sister Medina is getting to us. And it's at www.thenoireformer.com. Please, would you like to give out your number or?
Yes. Let me also say, if I may.
Yes.
We have a website, as Sister Fatima has mentioned, and we're doing some updates. So some of this information you will be able to see on the website. Please forgive us. We've had to make a lot of changes. We're going through a lot of legal things as well, so that we can protect a lot of things that we have and be done in a certain manner. So, but now we're getting ready to add more information on the website. You will actually, when you visit this website, you will actually be taught. We will give you and share with you information that you will definitely want to keep coming back for more, inshallah.
Praise be.
So with that being said, please begin to visit the website, and we will begin to share more and more information. We're not trying to keep it to ourselves. We're not blessed that way. We're not trying to keep it to ourselves. It's just a certain manner that we have to handle this information and the things that we're doing. And inshallah, we will be successful with your help. We have a foundation set up as well. We will be sharing that information with you. We're working on some huge products,
yes,
as Sister Fatima is a part of. We're working on some huge information that we would like to be able to even purchase a lot of land in the Eastern Market area, the Black Bottom, the location of where the first mosque was. These are locations that are available, and we want to be able to start purchasing and set up the actual beginnings of the Nation of Islam, and inshallah eventually have our own museum here in Detroit. So there's a lot that's coming.
Yes.
We're not asleep. We're not dragging our feet. We just have to do things in a certain manner. So thank you for being patient with us. And please begin to visit the website. There will be a lot of information that we will be sharing and learning. You will have a beautiful learning experience when you visit that website, inshallah.
Now, would you like them to contact you through the website?
I can be contacted through the website, or my number is 313-673-9840. And call me.
And again, as I've mentioned, the sister is available. Our sister is available to speak to you. And these books you want in your library, I bear you witness, you want these in your library. So again, Sister Medina, I do not want to leave without us saying what I said we will come back to. So that'll be the note we'll end on. And those were the words that you said to your mother in as part as well, let's start with you asking her how she wanted to be remembered and your words to her.
I asked my mother, these were two separate occasions. I asked her, how does she want to be remembered? And she said she wanted the people to know, the world to know the many sacrifices she made in the cause for Islam, for the religion. And later on, I asked her, literally on her deathbed, minutes before she passed, literally. And I didn't ask her. I told her that I would let the world know who she was. And at that time, I honestly, that had to be, I lost saying it because I didn't even know. I didn't even realize what I was saying.
Right.
And I had no clue until almost 20 years later that this is it. This is what I'm doing. And with the help of the minister and sitting down with us and giving us guidance too, and showing us which way to go in terms of all that we have, we're going to share. You will know. You will know. Word is bond. You will know.
So I'm going to end, and again, you can hear the full content or a part of the content, but I'm going to give you a piece of some words Minister Farrakhan said. And he said, when speaking on your mother and these teachings and in the booklets, which again, we're going to end at my sister's house now with an interview, but we're picking back up in the Spotlight Presents. And our guest speaker is Sister Medina, and we're going to look at each of the books that you must purchase. But the minister said, if you don't know the root, you may not understand the tree. And he spoke that most of us in the nation knows very little of its beginning. The minister is advising us. It's incumbent upon us as believers. We have to become more studied and have a better understanding. And this is an excellent tool that.
Yeah, so shout out to these two sisters. I think what the sister name is Fatima. Fatima here in the red head covering, and Medina Muhammad here in the brown. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was her history. You know, it's the things that she manifested right here doesn't really overlap a whole lot with the last one that we looked at. The last videos that we saw with Andrew Morrow and the other brother, that was more focused on kind of his general history, whereas this right here was a little bit more, experience, direct experience with far during the time that, he was born in that nation. You know what I'm saying? But so we got there's too much Christian influence in the NOI, even though they deny it. This is because the early followers were Christians. I mean, I definitely detected some of that in the writing she manifested right there. You know what I'm saying? There definitely was a practical side. You know what I'm saying? It was a real side in terms of, you know, they built actual infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? You know the infrastructure that you could build a nation on. You know what I mean? Economic endeavors. You know what I'm saying? Having the FOI, et cetera, et cetera. The interviews. This one was the only one that really looked like it was talking about Fard though. Like the other ones, I just kind of glanced at the titles. It kind of looked like they was gonna go into a different direction. It's a shame she sold out her father for Farrakhan. It's like they conspired to wash John Muhammad out of history because with the Farrah he wasn't with the Farrah foolishness. I mean, True Light said another John placed in exile. I mean, one does have to ask, uh, why she didn't have a whole lot to say about John Muhammad. I'm sure he had many experiences with Fard too. So, yeah, there's a question why that wouldn't come up. But what else? What else did we? I got a couple things. We got a couple things, not a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? But definitely. But see, she didn't put it in a order. See, like for instance, we talking about the Christian elements of it, but we know that originally he was teaching people out of the Bible. So it's probably even more elements like that she didn't write about, or maybe her daughter just didn't get to. But it was interesting nonetheless. But what's the deal? We got any questions? Any questions about uh, what we dealt with here today? Or whatever else we might. You said, are you discussing UFOs? Well, I'm not discussing UFOs. You know, uh, it's the I don't know how you got that idea from what we dealing with. You said it's almost irrelevant because Bernstein went with Wallace and denied Fard and Elijah. She she passed away as a Sunni. I try and find some John Muhammad vids detailing his dealings with Fard. Yeah, maybe that'll yield us some more knowledge and wisdom there. You know what I'm saying? But nah, I didn't. This is interesting right here too. So Bernstein went. So that's actually very interesting. Oh, you said the thumbnail shows a huge spaceship. Well, yeah, that's because Fard, uh, I guess I learned today that that is the wheel of Ezekiel there. But Elijah said that Fard was on the mother plane there. So it's for those that are aware, for those that are aware of the NOI teachings, that was something that would visibly let them know what I was going to be talking about on this live stream. Nah, man, I don't be. I just told you, man. I don't even know what the inside of the Mars look like. This be the stuff they usually be telling me. That's why you gotta step into the house, so you can hear all the other teachings. You can hear all the other teachings that Elijah manifested that y'all ain't got. But I'm good. If that's the deal, I'm good. He said it was the will mothership that made me take my talents to a large 5%. Couldn't explain or deal with that spookism. Pretty much, that's what I'm saying. Like, I ain't leave Christianity to hear more Christianity. Maybe if I was around at that time, things would be different. But right now I can say that wouldn't have been at all. What would have drew me up. But at any rate, you know what I'm saying? We got through this one right here. We got through this one right here fairly smoothly. You know what I'm saying? Before we have any trolls come on. So yeah, we're gonna look for some other accounts there. We're gonna see. What about you? You got any Ugan Ali? Is that his name? I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Some people say that that's him in the picture with Fard when he gets arrested. That he's the black guy sitting on the right side of the picture. Some people said it's somebody else. But we can have a few more, get as well rounded, get as well rounded a view of what these individuals are saying, because ultimately for me it doesn't make a difference, because supreme mathematics is something that I lived out for years, months, and days. So, this stuff is interesting to me. It's interesting, but it doesn't. He said, so there's nothing. Ugan's history is rarely talked about. I mean, well, maybe it's the the people that I'll be around, so that I always knew about them, but maybe that's not common knowledge. I don't know, but I know there's been various people who speak to him, or at least somebody I've seen people taking pictures with somebody that they call in Ugan Ali. But at any rate, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the notification button so you can get the alerts. Everybody else do the each one teach one, hit the like button. We're gonna be back on. We got a couple of things we're supposed to be on. It's another little podcast. I gotta go on there. And I got some things I gotta build about over there. And I got, like I said, I got some special episodes. I got some special episodes where we gotta break some things down. So we should be back on before the end of the week. But in the meantime, between time, I'm gonna sign off and say peace.